To begin, you're going to start with your wreath that already has this greenery applied, and you're going to take the leaves that match your wreath, and we're going to do some filler there first. Believe it or not, by the time we're done with everything, you will not see any of this wire wreath. Okay, so to do that, you can do it two ways. There are already a few that I've looped in there for you, which you can take this, pop the stick off, and then you're going to run it under part of the wire in the middle and up the wire in the middle so that it's kind of balancing. You do want to do that with several. So like I said, I'm just gonna pop this off on a couple, and then we're going to loop it under one wire and through a wire, so it's kind of just teeter-tottering in there. And that gives it a little bit of fullness. The rest of these we're going to actually glue in. And it's your choice if you want to glue it on the stick. I like to glue it on the stick, so what I'll do is just put a little hot glue on the end. And it's easiest if you glue it on some of the brown vine. It gives it something to hang on to. So you just find part of that brown vine and stick it on there, and you can see I'm making it lay that way. I do want to go around and see which is my part with the less leaves, which for mine it's right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and apply my bow. Now the bow has a long wire, and we're going to go ahead and just wire that. And just like I used the two middle parts of the wreath, the metal, you're going to do the same thing. Just wire that through, and then you are going to twist it on. And then push it to the back. At the end, you can clip that wire off. You could do it now if you have some scissors. I didn't bring any over here, or I would. So I know I don't have to get too full on that part. I really just want to concentrate my leaves on the other. That's why I went ahead and put the bow on. And the bow is wired, so don't worry right now if it gets smashed flat, because at the very end we'll pop it up. So you're just going to continue to do that with all of these leaves. I think I'm going to do another one where I just pull it through. So I'm going between these two and up these two, and that's so easy. They are moving right now, but once we have all of the other leaves and lemons put in, it won't do that at all, because it's going to be so nice and full. So continue on your wreath until you get these leaves put in. You're saying that looks pretty sparse, but when you look at all the other pretty things we have to put in it, it's going to look great. So the next thing I want to do is I want to glue this in. It's up to you if you want it crooked. I'm going to do mine straight right over the bow, and I don't want all the leaves to be covered, so I might push some out, and then I'm just going to glue it directly on. If you can fit the four corners to glue it on a metal, that's fine. If you want to do it on a leaf, I'm going to do mine on the leaf, but maybe some metal too. Now this leaf is a little smaller, so I'm going to pull it out. I just want those leaves showing. So you just take a little glue, dab that there with this leaf, and then I'm going to do the same with all four corners. And like I said, when there's some, if it's a big leaf, go ahead and stick it behind. You don't want it to cover the pretty artwork. So I'm going to turn this one around and just glue this corner here. And as you see, I just glued it to one that's just wibble wobble through. So I might want to take another one just to make sure it's anchored. And put a little glue there, put it on the back, and that way I know it's going to stay hanging up for our little message. So you're going to do that with all four corners. This is a small one, so I think I'm going to pull it out. And then I'm going to go under here, find one, glue it to it. And I already need another glue stick. Okay, same thing on this side. We're going to glue to the leaves to give it some security. And there we go. Okay, I think I'm going to flip. Woo! Okay, I do want to make sure it's stable, so you'll pick it up and see if it leans one way or the other to know if you need to add any more glue. You don't always have to glue the board. If I want some stability, I could pull it up and glue this leaf to the top because I like that little overhang. So I think that's what I'm going to do with this small leaf, just because it looks like it's growing over, and that holds it up nicely. So I think I might do that again. Right, let's see, nope, I already glued that one to the bottom. I might do that right here with this one. And it just kind of looks like it's getting a hug from the leaves, and I like that look. Okay, one more time, pick it up, make sure it's not loose anywhere, make sure it's even. Once you see it's even with your bow, if it's not, you'll just do something like this to pull it over on this side. And that's gonna hold your one-of-a-kind sign. So, okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I have 6 lemons. So I kind of want to see where they go to make sure I'm spacing them nicely. So if I have 6, it's going to be 3 on each side. So I know at the top I kind of need 2. I'm not gluing them, I'm not making them perfect. This is just for me to measure some things out. I see the next 2 I want to put here, and my last 2 right down here by the bow. Now that's not exactly where I put them. When I glue them, it'll be more in the bushes. But what I need to create first is more of the greenery with the white flowers. So each lemon has a little bushel of white flower. And I want to glue that in before the lemon, because really the lemon is going to hide all these ends. So I'm going to take my first lemon, move it, and I'm going to create a little bed for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this right to the vine. And I'm going to push it down because I know I want my lemon about here. So that's a cute little flower. Now these leaves here are made to look like they're with this flower. That's the leaf coming out of the white flower. So you're just going to glue it into place around the flower. And this is going to help cover up the rest of that wreath. So I'm going to have one coming up that way. I'm going to put glue on my next one. And you have a lot of these to work with. You don't want to use them all right away with lemons because we are going to use them as fillers. But see how I'm making that one go over? And I'm just creating a little bed for my lemon. It's just going to sit right there. Isn't that so sweet? I love it. You have several of these to work with in each spot, so you can have, I think I'm going to do one more before I put my lemon in. I'm going to put a little glue and stick that right there. And if you don't have a cool melt, don't let it get on your fingers. My glue gun is a low temp, so I don't burn myself because I've done that way too many times. And then once I have my little bed created, I'm just going to see which side I want to cover up, and I'm going to put glue on it. And I'm going to hold it down right in the middle of that, whichever way you want to face it. And you just need to give it a little pressure for a few seconds to make sure it dries nice and tight in there. And then you're going to continue this same process with putting a white flower and the leaves under your lemons and then getting the lemons glued on. So just continue that all the way around the wreath, and then we will finish doing some filling with whatever leaves are left. Okay, now you're gonna wanna pick it up, make sure everything is secure. I'm shaking it a little, it's not shaking, so I'm gonna lay it back down. I love it, but as you can see, there's a couple of little spaces that could use some filler. And you should have a good amount of filler left. I have all of this left. So you'll take your filler and just go around and glue it in. Make sure you don't glue it to where it shows. You'll want to stick it under a leaf or something and glue it in there to add a little bit more layers and depth and covering those holes, make it nice and full. So I got that one in there. Okay, take another one. And I'm gonna stick this one coming out right here. Give it another little layer. I'm gluing it just directly to the back of this leaf. I'm not putting it on wire or anything, just on the leaf. And I think I'm actually gonna take one and I'm gonna put some glue on it on the front side this time. And I'm gonna stick it under my bow. So I'm gonna lift the tails up and I'm gonna glue it directly under my bow. So it comes out right here in between. See, isn't that nice just to add that little greenery down there with the bow? The next thing I'm gonna do, make sure my bow comes back over, kind of go ahead and plump these up. Just, they're wires, so you literally just go like this and form them to have nice bubbles. And do that all the way around so that you can see what else you want to do. That helps you see where there's some little holes. This makes me want to, and I'm going to scoot this up so you can see, put some coming out also on this side of the bow. So I'm going to put this on the back, and then I'm going to lift my bow up and I'm gluing it directly to the leaf that's under my bow. So that way it sticks on that leaf and it adds just another little bush coming out. I'm gonna do that on both sides. So that comes out nicely. Let's see, get any of the glue. And then you're just gonna walk around and look. Like I said, it's good to stand up, stand back. So now that I'm looking up, I see I have a hole here and a hole here. So I'm gonna add the leaf. And at this point, you can put it on the front and you're just gonna lift up, find something in there to stick it to, and glue it down. And that covers up that hole, makes it nice and full. We're gonna do the same thing right over here. Put the glue on it, find a leaf and stick it on. So then it gets nice and full, no holes. I have a few more. So I kind of would like to have a small one. So I'm just gonna break this off. You can use scissors if you can't get it to go because I just want it to be small. And I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna stick it out of the top right there of the bow. And then I'm gonna take these extra little flowers that I broke off and I'm gonna put it right there coming out of my bow. So it has a little bit of dimension right there. I've broken off two, so I'm gonna see, do I want this one here as well, or do I want it down here? I think I'm gonna do it up at the top. I'm gonna do two at the top, but you can do one at the bottom. Whatever makes you happy. Creating makes me happy. Okay, so that puts a nice little floral right above my bow. And you just continue to look for those holes. Oop, I need another glue stick. I think I'm gonna do one right here. So it comes out the very top. And And when I stand back and look, this still doesn't look as full as everything else. So the first thing I'm gonna do is see if there is a bigger leaf to pull forward, which there is. So I'm gonna pull this one forward a little bit. And then I'm just gonna glue some of these in on top to hold it in the shape that I want. There we go. And I'm gonna glue this one right to the back of the other one. And that made it fill up, but it also gave me another place to glue one of these right across this leaf here. All right, once you have all your leaves glued on, you have your beautiful summer wreath ready to go.